Hey guys, welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm your host Robert Durden, and it's the shithead of the week time. So, this is the Democratic edition. We already did the Republican edition earlier today. The Republican editions are necessarily going to be a little bit shorter of episodes because all I do is kind of like make fun of them for being goofballs. They don't have any real power right now. So, I go after the Democrats more on substance because they're the ones in power and they're the ones bumblefucking their way through this administration. So traditionally I make fun of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and, Republicans that are just kind of cartoonish on the right. But I mean, why go after these people if they have no power? I could go after Mitch McConnell every single week, but I don't have to because he doesn't really have any power right now. So I have a three-way tie for the Democrats. And one of those is going to be just a small group of three that are all doing the same thing. So that group is nominated. That's going to be the holdouts on the PRO Act, and that is Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly, the senators from Arizona, and then Mark Warner of Virginia. There are only three holdouts. Even Joe Manchin came out, and he's for the PRO Act this week. So second craphead of the week is Joe Manchin. And for a completely different reason. I'm glad he's for the PRO Act, and I went over why he's actually changing his mind on this in a different episode. It's not really because he's for the PRO Act. It's because he knows he's never going to have to actually vote on it. But he's definitely a craphead of the week as well. And then the last nomination, a lot of you guys aren't going to like, it's AOC. She did a couple of stupid things this week, or she really did one big stupid thing. And then there's another thing that I'm mad that she's not doing when it would be such an easy thing to help her regain some, credibility. So let's start, though, with the three holdouts from the PRO Act. Now, even Manchin, like I said, is now for the PRO Act, which is an enormously important piece of pro-union legislation. It makes it way harder to union bust. It gets rid of right-to-work laws, and it makes it so you can't be independent contractored, and you can't be replaced if you go on strike, stuff like that. So it's extremely important. And for socialists like me who believe that we need to revolutionize the workplace and make it more equal for everybody in the workplace, this is maybe the most important piece of legislation that is still on the board for progressives. So the three senators that are still holding out, Kyrsten Sinema is also having a really, really rough time. Ever since she did that famous thumbs down, she gets killed on everything she says on Twitter, and everybody hates her, and her favorability dropped like a stone. So that's excellent. But then she went out, like at the beginning of this week, it might be a little bit farther back than that, she got a picture taken of her at home, like dressed like Hunger Games style, Effie Trinket. She's got her margarita or whatever in her hand, and her big old like pink sunglasses on her forehead, and she's sipping, and she's got a ring on her finger that says "fuck off," which I think that's basically her just telling real progressives who hate her now, and the people that want a $15 minimum wage to fuck off. So that's why she's nominated, and obviously the fact that she's still holding out on the PRO Act. I mean, these people are real assholes. And, of course, it has nothing to do with me being sexist or homophobic. I don't give a fuck about Kyrsten Sinema in that way. The fact that she's being to the right of Joe Manchin on the PRO Act. And also, I didn't mention, rumors are swirling that she's working with Mitt Romney and co. on a $10 minimum wage, which is also to the right of Joe Manchin. So she's making herself out to look like almost more right-wing than Joe Manchin is, which is why she's nominated this week. Joe Manchin himself, however, is still holding out that he only wants an $11 minimum wage, and the reason he's nominated is because he's giving the facade the impression that he's for the PRO Act, but I'll tell you why. It's becoming more and more clear in Washington right now that the PRO Act is going to be stripped out of the infrastructure bill anyway by the parliamentarian. Now that they know that, and it looks like it's going to have to go through regular order, and it looks like filibuster reform is not going to happen anytime soon, Manchin's safe. He wants to attach his name to a very popular piece of legislation so he can say, hey, look, I'm pro-union. I co-sponsored the PRO Act. Because he knows that he's got all these safeguards behind him that are protecting him from ever having to vote actually on the PRO Act. The three senators I just named, they'd all have to vote for it. The parliamentarian would have to okay it, which neither of those two things are going to happen. Then Kamala Harris, or if we actually wanted to get it passed, this isn't a safeguard for Manchin, but then Kamala Harris would actually have to vote on it to pass it through. Budget reconciliation, that's not going to happen. Joe Manchin knows that he's safe. The parliamentarian isn't going to allow it in there, and they're not getting rid of the filibuster, so he doesn't have anything to worry about. He doesn't have anything to worry about. He can pretend like he's for the PRO Act, and he's never going to have to put his money where his mouth is. That's why he's nominated for Shithead of the Week. And then lastly, I'm going to rip up AOC. Point one, Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress, that absurd bleach blonde QAnon bimbo. I think she's an Arkansas congresswoman. She has been challenging AOC to a debate on the Green New Deal relentlessly lately. And I have to say to AOC, why don't you fucking take it? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is an idiot. She's a moron. She's going to argue in favor of extremely unpopular things, like she's going to argue for oil companies, and she's going to argue that the Green New Deal costs too much. You can go out there and set the record straight, cudgel her over the head with a 60-40 issue, which the Green New Deal is, and you'll end up getting all this awareness because you guys are very, very polarizing Congress people. If you did the debate, you could go out there and show why Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't be taken seriously, why her views are ridiculous, and you could make your case for the Green New Deal. If you had a brain in your head and knew anything about trying to get publicity and how to ride a news cycle and how to create a news cycle, this is what you would do. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a bimbo, and everybody that's not part of her QAnon fellowship thinks she's a dimwit. So go out there and show everybody that you're smarter than her, show her that the Green New Deal makes sense and that her ideas don't, and it would be a huge step forward to getting the Green New Deal done, which you just started reintroducing this week with Bernie Sanders. You want to actually get some press for your legislation? Debate Marjorie Taylor Greene, you dimwit. And so I don't think AOC is going to do this, and she should, and it's proving to me that maybe she is afraid of, debating somebody who is clearly, 20 IQ points lower than her and on the wrong moral side of this argument, but I digress. The second thing that really made me mad, and this is the worst thing that AOC did this week, is that she went on, I think she was doing a Zoom call, some sort of town hall, and she went and basically did the same exact talking point that Noam Chomsky did earlier this week. She said that Joe Biden, his presidency, according to how progressives thought it was going to go, has actually been pretty progressive and pretty FDR-like. And this is a talking point that Noam Chomsky used as well, where he goes, listen, the progressives didn't expect anything out of Biden, and it looks like he's actually living up to more than what progressives wanted. Horrible argument, because, by the way, side note, you guys were the ones that wanted to get him in there and then push him left. Which one is it? Get him in there and push him left, or get him in there and then when people try to push him left, you obfuscate and play defense for Biden, act like he's done more than he has, and say, no, your opinion is that your opinion is wrong. He's already gone left and you've already pushed him left. Are you trying to tell everybody that is on the left, that is progressive and wanted these things to be FDR-like from Biden, that they're what they think? So that's neither here nor there. But the other thing that's frustrating about it is that, you can't compare Biden to, Trump all the time, or what progressives expected out of Biden, because of course progressives knew what they were getting into with Biden, and they knew that he was going to be a Republican. So why are you judging him based off of what the progressives projected he would do, which was nothing? So that what they're doing is, this is super annoying. It's like all of the neoliberals got in a group and they decided that they were going to run with this talking point. Noam Chomsky did it first. Now AOC's running with it. Watch for this talking point. They will guaranteed from here on out go, well, according to you guys, he wasn't going to do anything. So according to your own opinion, he's actually been very progressive. Bullshit. What has he actually done? What has he actually done? No, he's gotten the headlines of forgiving student loan debt and getting out of the war and genocide in Yemen. He has all these, he depermitted the Keystone pipeline, but still letting oil go through the Dakota Access pipeline. What victories for the left are you actually talking about, AOC, that you're saying that we are being unreasonable about? Because there aren't any. There have been no victories for the left for Biden. You are gaslighting everybody, and you're telling everybody that, oh, well, you know, even according to what you thought about Biden, you have to actually admit that he's been pretty progressive. No. You're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to judge Biden's horrible presidency based on what the far lefties and the progressives expected from him, which was a moderate to severe Republican administration, or based on what Trump did, which was a moderate to severely Republican administration. We're going to judge Biden on what he said he was going to do, and he said he was going to be like FDR. You guys said he was going to be like FDR, and he's not. And now you guys have nothing to say, so you obfuscate and use this horrible, horrible fucking talking point, which I went after Noam Chomsky for. I was so irate about it. So that's what drives me crazy about this thing, is that now they're going to tell us, oh, well, you have to judge Biden on what you thought he was going to do, and you thought he was going to be an F administration, and he's been a D- administration, so that's a big victory for you. So stop acting like he hasn't done stuff. Yeah, I thought it was going to be an F administration, but you know what? I would say it still is an F administration. What victories has Joe Biden actually gotten? So this is obfuscation. It's super annoying. And so that's why I'm giving the Democratic shithead of the week to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. If you don't like it, go debate Marjorie Taylor Greene. Start actually calling Biden out for his shitty administration instead of, obfuscating the left that actually got you elected and that cares about the things that you purport to care about, AOC. It's bananas that she's actually trying to run with this. And that's why she's getting nominated this week, is because now it's pretty clear to me that AOC has gone over to the dark side. So I gave her till May 1st and the squad till May 1st to get something on the floor, like a Medicare for all floor vote. Something that could show me signs of life from them, but I'm calling it. I'm banging the gavel today, April 24th. Call it. AOC is a lost cause. Don't even bother with it anymore. And I'm not sure that I will actually believe her when she talks about doing things for the left anymore, because I know from my own eyes that she's going to go in there and get done. Like, she's not going to get anything done. So it's AOC, although Joe Manchin and Sinema and all of them, they could have won it this week. I was going to go with Kyrsten Sinema, but I saw the things that AOC was saying, and they ripped my guts out. Like, I had so much faith and hope in AOC, so much riding on her, and she let me down so much. So the fact that it got me, super emotional, and the fact that I came to the reality today, the conclusion that AOC is now a lost cause, that's why you're getting shithead of the week, and I think you deserve it. But a very, very close second for Kyrsten Sinema and all those jackasses that are still standing in the way of the PRO Act. I mean, this is one of those things where it could be used to unseat Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly and Mark Warner in the future. If they don't get their act straight, this is one of those things you could just use it to primary them and defeat them. So here's hoping they hold out, and I would hope that the PRO Act will actually get in there, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be black shelved after all of this. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, go out there and debate Marjorie Taylor Greene. Prove me wrong, but methinks you're not going to do dick. You're just going to keep doing what you're doing. So good luck with that Green New Deal legislation you started pushing this week. If you don't get the news cycle around it, if you can't get up any support for it by, let's say, debating somebody that's extremely polarizing in Congress on something that should be a slam dunk, then I don't know what to tell you. You're just a terrible strategist.